everyone, and welcome back to the FPL Family YouTube channel. I'm Sam, and today, this is the second time I've recorded this video because things massively changed. So this is my latest draft. Now, of course, since I first posted this video, there were some quite fundamental changes in FPL because of injuries, but also because of a really unexpected transfer, and so subsequently my draft has changed quite a lot too. So I'm back re-recording this video again, and I'm going to go through what my draft currently looks like shortly. But just one quick one before we do. Of course, it is Fantasy Football Fest next Friday. So on the launch of Gameweek 1, Friday the 13th of August, it is Fantasy Football Fest. I'm literally so excited for this. So I recorded a video this morning with the beautiful Kelly Summers, which is coming out next week on our channel, looking at her draft. And she, alongside James Richardson, will be hosting Fest live from London. So if you are not sure about coming, if you've even thought about coming, I think it's going to be brilliant. So you can head over, get yourself some tickets. They're still available. It should be a really, really lovely evening. Anyway, enough about that. Let's talk about my latest draft. So this is my now updated draft, and there have been a few changes since Sunday evening's live stream where we kind of talked about our picks or who we thought might be in our picks for the beginning part of this season. Now, I haven't yet sorted out bench order, but the captain's armband is 100% set as it is on there. Now, there is a video coming out later on next week which talks about why Salah will be my captain over Bruno, because there was a very long period of time where I was going to captain Bruno this time around. I just fancied him in that home fixture against Leeds, although will be a different and a difficult game. But Salah's stats on opening day, he currently is joint record holder with Teddy Sheringham for the most consecutive opening day fixtures he's scored in. So he's scored in the last four, or in fact all four of his opening day fixtures for Liverpool he has scored in. And if he scores again against Norwich in this opening day, that will be a new Premier League record for consecutive Premier League goals on opening days. So I suspect he will. Couple that with the fact that Klopp, his Liverpool team, have scored at least 3 in every single opening day fixture since he's been at the club, and suddenly we have what seems to be the perfect mix for a captain. So Salah captain's armband for me all day long. Things that haven't changed, the 2 Watford goalkeepers still currently there. I am a little bit cautious about this. I do have 0.5 in the bank, so I can go Foster to a playing keeper from another side. I could go to Sanchez. I could go to Gaeta. There are other options there available. So that is something that I am still pondering on. But I'm also pondering on whether I want to spend that 0.5 upgrading Robertson to Trent. So Robertson's still there at the moment, but that is still something that I'm kind of thinking on. Luke Shaw's still there at the moment. In fact, those from back 4 there that are on the current pitch, Digne, Robertson, Shaw and Stufal, they haven't changed. They are the same as in my last draft that you saw on Sunday evening's live stream. So those guys have been present for a while now. I would still like Trent over Robertson, I think, but budget, I might want to spend that extra 0.5 somewhere else. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens there. And obviously with Luke Shaw, I'm still kind of waiting to see what's happening with him on his return from this broken rib thing that he's had. Now, he has been pictured back in training at Manchester United and seems very happy. And with Tellez out, I think he will start the season, but I am just keeping an eye on that because it will really bug me if he misses the early part of the season, particularly as I only want a Manchester United defender for those opening 5 weeks. So he's still being watched, most definitely. The bigger changes have come in the middle there. So in the draft I had on Sunday, I had Ismail Assar in the middle, but I've upgraded him in terms of an extra 0.5 there for Emi Buendia. Now, I made that decision on the back of what happened yesterday with the talk about out of the blue. This never happens anymore, does it? You never get out of the blue transfers like this, but totally out of the blue arrival of Danny Ings at Aston Villa. Now, I will say I think it's a fantastic bit of business from Aston Villa to sign an out-and-out striker in the way that they have, and obviously a penalty taker, which we didn't really have a consistent penalty taker at Aston Villa last time around. We saw Ollie Watkins miss quite a few, so to have somebody like Danny Ings come in, that feels like a really good move from Villa. So I suspect what will happen there is that will make Buendia an even better asset, because suddenly we've got him, we've got Bailey, we've got Watkins, we've got Danny Ings, a proper target man. That surely has a big impact, because Buendia is used to playing with a target man Pukki at Norwich, and we've just replaced him now with Danny Ings. So I think this is a real benefit for Buendia. So for the opening 3 game weeks of the season, when these fixtures are really nice for Villa, I'm going to go Buendia. He probably will leave my team in game or ahead of game week 4 is the reality, because the fixtures do take a turn for the worse for Villa. But Buendia therefore now for sure. Salah and Fernandes obviously not going anywhere. And I've kept Gilmore currently as well, and Harrison as my kind of 4th and 5th midfielders. But there are other potential options in that 4.5 million category which I might look at. But to be honest, the Norwich fixtures look really nice beyond game week 5. So I'm sort of thinking, well, maybe I just go with him, because looking at the opening 4 game weeks of the season, I wouldn't be playing my 4.5 midfielder anyway. So it kind of feels sensible to have someone that looks good for then game week 5 through game week 13, apart from game week 9 against Chelsea where I wouldn't want to play him. But the other games looks like he's playable. So probably going to stick with him too, to be honest. And then up top, obviously, things have changed. Now, the arrival of Danny Ings did make me kind of ponder on, do I go with him? Do I go with him up top? And I very, very nearly did. However, he's obviously that 0.5 extra. And as I've mentioned already, I do have 0.5 in the bank. But I also think that 0.5 could upgrade Robertson to Trent. I also think that 0.5 could be useful eventually in having a Manchester City defender, which I'm going to definitely want. So having that to go from Digne up also feels like a sensible idea. It just feels like a good idea to have a little bit of money around. And I'm not sure that extra 0.5 is really valuable for Danny Ings if I've already got Buendia. So I changed Watkins, because my view on Watkins now is that, sadly, because he was brilliant last season for FPL managers, but I now think that he will likely have a change of position. So we'll likely see him play more as he did for Brentford. We're likely to see him maybe play a bit further out on the wing with Buendia in behind Danny Ings. And of course, that change of position will affect his scoring ability, because he won't necessarily be in the same places that he was last season. And therefore, I think there are better options. It pains me to say it almost, but I do think there's probably going to be better options at Aston Villa. Buendia, also Leon Bailey, who I think is a great signing for them. So he's another one potentially that you could go with in the midfield. Plus, of course, the midfielders have the additional benefits of clean sheet point, extra point for a goal. And so it makes a lot of sense to go with him. And is cheaper, obviously significantly cheaper than Danny Ings is. So hence the move, not for Danny Ings, but for Buendia instead in the middle. And then up top, at that Watkins position has become Antonio. Now, I've done that for a couple of reasons. One, because Antonio's had the summer off. So I'm hoping that his glass hamstrings are repaired and he is fully fit and available and ready to go this season. I've also done it because whilst I do worry a little bit about West Ham's ability to fight on 2 fronts in terms of the Premier League and also the Europa League, the Europa League doesn't kick off straight away, and so subsequently it's about the time the Europa League starts that we start to see a change in fixtures for for West Ham. And as a result of that, I think that there's potential to have Antonio for this nice period of fixtures that they have and then move him on after that. Plus, I do really like him against Newcastle, because we've seen a lot of issues and a lot of drama in pre-season around the Newcastle United goalkeepers in particular. And so having Antonio feels like it could be a good idea for game week 1. And then probably around the time that the fixtures start to take a turn for Antonio and that the double competitions start to kick in with the Europa League is also about the time that Pukki's fixtures massively improve. So there's potential there for a downgrade of Antonio to Pukki in terms of the budget that I've got to spend, freeing up a little bit more money, which can then be distributed across the rest of the team. Plus, there's also then the conversation that comes in with, there's obviously still no Harry Kane in this side. That is something I am still struggling with, to be honest. Not because I want to own him for game week 1, because as I mentioned in the live stream, he isn't going to play game week 1. He never was, regardless of what's happening currently with him not being in training and the fact that he's decided to take a bit more of an extended holiday. But I wasn't going to own him then anyway. But I know, regardless of where he plays, unless he obviously goes abroad, I'm going to want to own Kane at some point. And so I need an entry plan for him. So all the time I'm thinking about where can money come from, because I'm going to need 4.5 million to make Calvert-Lewin Kane. And being able to, in a couple of game weeks' time, take Antonio down to Pukki, that's giving me a bit more budget. Being able to maybe make some changes across that back line will also allow me to have a bit more budget, because at the moment I only have the 4.5 defender, which in some ways I think might be a mistake, because there is potential, huge potential, in the rotating defensive options, as I did a whole video on a little bit earlier on in this pre-season. And so I think I actually need to go back and take my own advice here and have another 4.5 million defender, and that probably means losing Soufal probably at that point, because I can't see me. I want to have 3 relative premiums. I can see Digne becoming a Man City player eventually, but that's not going to happen for the foreseeable, because of course he's likely to be on set pieces now, even more so on set pieces now for Everton, and the fixtures are lovely in terms of clean sheet potential. So this is where I am at the moment. Not that many changes from Sunday, but 3 quite substantial ones in terms of actual players that will play. Oh, the other one that I haven't mentioned that I have changed, you'll see Joel Veltman there sitting on the bench as my 4.5 that I was just talking about. He's replaced Fofana, which in some ways really, I mean, last night's injury to Fofana was just, it was very hard to watch. It was a horrendous challenge, and how anyone challenges like that in a pre-season, I just never know. And I hope that he comes back from his leg break quickly and pain-free as possible. But of course for us in FPL, that does leave a problem. Now, yes, you can go up, and there are other players at Leicester who we could go for in defence. You can also come down and go with Amati, because he's likely to be the one that replaces him, because I don't think Johnny Evans is going to be available straight away. In doing that, he's 4 million. If we've got a 4 million playing Leicester player, that might be a good thing, even if it's only for a couple of weeks, and then we can make a change then when we see who of the 4.5s are doing really well. But there is potential with Amati, but I've gone Veltman on the basis that I haven't gone Sanchez in goal. And I do think that Brighton are going to have a decent start to the season, even without Ben White. I still think that they will do well. And I still think that not having a Brighton defender will be quite painful for me. And so Veltman it is, on the basis that Lamptey's not available, because obviously when Lamptey's back, there's competition around that position. But we saw last season that Veltman has got attacking returns potential also, and the fixtures look nice. So even without Ben White, I think it's probably worth investing in Brighton, particularly now that we know that Sanchez is going to be okay after his knock-in pre-season. So that's where I am in terms of my draft at the moment. This is draft number 4, because draft number 3, obviously, you never really saw, because it got deleted with the Danny Ings and Fofana news yesterday. But this is where we are. So I'm fairly happy with a lot of this. I like the front 3. I think there's real potential there. I'm really happy with that midfield 3, and I do like those defensive players at the back. I'm also quite happy with the bench, weirdly, but as I say, there's that extra 0.5, so I need to have a little plan, and I'm going to use my trusty planner to plan out an entry level for Kane and see how this team would need to change and the transfers that I would have to do. And I do think that it's a sensible idea to have a little look towards Kane and what you might want to do with him, because eventually I think we are going to want to have him. Although the news that Messi isn't staying at Barcelona, I've hit the wrong button. Does that affect our decision, or Man City's decision, to come back in for Kane? Because we all know how they wanted Messi last time around. Right, now I'm going to start the exit. If you haven't already done so, please hit the subscribe button. If you've enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and leave me a comment in the description below. Who is missing in that draft? And who do I need to make sure that I have before the game week deadline on the 13th? It's been great talking to you guys again, and I will see you on another video shortly. Bye, guys.